Cowboys Nation. You are not imagining things, and you are not crazy for feeling like something big might be brewing behind the scenes in Dallas, because when a name like Brian Flores starts getting connected to the Cowboys, even indirectly, it immediately sends shockwaves through the entire NFL world. This is not just another random rumor, and this is not just another talking point made for clicks. This is one of those moments where words matter, timing matters, and silence from certain people speaks even louder than statements. Brian Flores is not just any coach, he is one of the sharpest defensive minds in football, a proven leader and a man who has never been afraid to speak his truth, even when it cost him opportunities. So when Flores made comments that appeared to open the door to the Dallas Cowboys, fans took notice, analysts leaned in, and suddenly a franchise that already lives under the brightest spotlight found itself at the center of yet another massive conversation. To understand why this matters so much, you have to understand who Brian Flores is and what he represents. Flores built his reputation the hard way, grinding through the coaching ranks, learning under Bill Belichick, and eventually earning his chance as a head coach with the Miami Dolphins. When he took over that Dolphins team, they were considered one of the worst rosters in the league. Expectations were low, the talent was limited, and most people assumed it would take years before they were even competitive. Instead, Flores changed the culture almost immediately. His teams played hard, they played disciplined, and they played with an edge. They beat teams they had no business beating. They confused quarterbacks, they pressured offenses, and most importantly, they never looked soft. That alone is something Cowboys fans have been begging for when January football rolls around. Despite his success, Flores was fired, and that firing raised eyebrows across the league. Many players defended him. Many coaches quietly respected him. And since then, Flores has been at the center of uncomfortable but necessary conversations about the NFL, hiring practices, and power dynamics. Through it all, Flores has remained focused on football, continuing to coach, continuing to prove his value, and continuing to command respect in NFL circles. That context is critical because this is not a man who casually throws compliments at organizations without thinking about what those words could mean. So when Flores spoke about teams with strong ownership, championship expectations, and real resources to win, and Dallas was mentioned in that same breath, the reaction was immediate. Flores did not dismiss the idea. He did not deflect. He did not give the typical coach answer that shuts down speculation. Instead, he spoke about the Cowboys as an environment that coaches are attracted to, an organization where expectations are high and the opportunity to win is real. That is not accidental language. That is not random. Coaches choose their words carefully, especially coaches who know every sentence will be dissected by fans and media alike. Flores knows how this league works, and he knows what saying something like that does. For Cowboys fans, this hits a nerve because the franchise is once again at a familiar crossroads. The roster is loaded with talent. Micah Parsons is one of the most dominant defensive players in football. The offensive weapons are there. The defense flashes brilliance. And yet, when it matters most, the same questions keep coming back. Why does this team look unprepared in big moments? Why does the defense struggle to adjust when offenses figure them out? Why does the intensity seem to disappear when the pressure is highest? These are not questions about talent. These are questions about leadership, culture, and coaching. Mike McCarthy has done some good things in Dallas, but his future always feels like it is hanging by a thread. One playoff disappointment and the conversation resets. Dan Quinn has been incredible for the Cowboys defense, but his success has also made him one of the most sought-after coaching candidates in the league. Every offseason feels like a countdown to when Quinn finally leaves for a head coaching job. That uncertainty creates a sense that Dallas is constantly trying to hold things together instead of building something permanent. That is where the idea of Brian Flores becomes so intriguing. Flores is not a placeholder coach. He is not a safe hire. He is not someone you bring in to maintain the status quo. Flores is a tone setter. His defenses are aggressive, unpredictable, and built to attack weaknesses. He demands accountability from players and coaches alike. He is known for making adjustments and for refusing to let his teams get comfortable. Like, imagine that mindset applied to a Cowboys roster that already has elite level talent. Imagine Micah Parsons being unleashed in even more creative ways. Imagine a defense that not only dominates weaker opponents, but also rises to the occasion against elite quarterbacks in playoff situations. Of course, this potential pairing also raises difficult questions, especially when it comes to Jerry Jones. Jerry is one of the most powerful and influential owners in all of sports. He is deeply involved. He loves control, attention, and being part of the conversation. Brian Flores is not known as someone who quietly falls in line. He is direct, confident, and unafraid to challenge ideas he disagrees with. That dynamic could either be explosive in the best way or incredibly complicated, but sometimes the moves that scare you the most are the ones that actually lead to growth. The Cowboys have tried different versions of leadership over the years. They have tried offensive-minded coaches. They have tried conservative approaches. They have tried continuity. What they have not tried in a long time is bringing in a coach who fundamentally shifts the culture and demands a different standard. Flores represents that possibility. He represents a hard reset on excuses. He represents a coach who would not be satisfied with regular season success or division titles. His entire reputation is built on competing against expectations and refusing to accept mediocrity. There is also the broader context of what the Cowboys mean in the NFL. This is not just another franchise. This is the most visible team in the league. The scrutiny is relentless. Like, every decision is magnified. For some coaches, that pressure is overwhelming. For others, it is motivating. So Flores seems like the type of coach who would not be intimidated by the spotlight. In fact, he might welcome it. His career has already been shaped by adversity and controversy. Coaching the Cowboys would simply be another challenge, another chance to prove that his way works on the biggest stage possible. Fans are already divided, and that is expected. Some love the idea of a tough, defensive-minded coach who brings accountability and edge. Others worry about fit, control, and potential clashes behind the scenes, but even the skeptics admit one thing: this would be different. And difference is something this franchise desperately needs if it wants to break free from decades of postseason frustration. The same formulas have led to the same endings. At some point, change becomes unavoidable. It is also important to recognize that nothing has officially happened. This is not a done deal. This is not a report that Flores is signing with Dallas tomorrow. This is about the door being cracked open, and in the NFL, that is often how major shifts begin. Conversations start quietly, praise is offered carefully, interest is hinted at instead of declared. Flores speaking positively about the Cowboys' environment is not meaningless. It is a signal, whether intentional or not, that he sees Dallas as a place where real football goals could be achieved. If McCarthy struggles again, if the postseason ends in disappointment once more, and if Jerry Jones decides that it is finally time for a dramatic move, names like Brian Flores will move from speculation to serious consideration. And if that moment comes, it will force the Cowboys to decide what they truly want to be. Do they want comfort and familiarity, or do they want confrontation and growth? Do they want a coach who fits into the existing structure or one who reshapes it entirely? The reason this story has legs is because it taps into the emotions of Cowboys fans who are tired of feeling like they are always close but never quite there. They see the talent, they see the potential, and they see other teams make bold decisions that pay off. Flores symbolizes boldness. He symbolizes a willingness to challenge norms and push back against complacency. Whether or not he ever wears a Cowboys headset, the fact that his name is being discussed in this context speaks volumes about where Dallas is right now as a franchise. As the season progresses and the pressure builds, every comment, every performance, and every decision will be analyzed through this lens. Cowboys fans will listen differently, media narratives will shift, and Brian Flores will remain a name to watch, not because of rumors, but because of what he represents. A possible turning point, a possible culture shift, a possible answer to questions that have haunted this franchise for far too long. And so for now, all eyes remain on Dallas, on Jerry Jones, and on how this season unfolds. But make no mistake, Cowboys Nation, when a coach like Brian Flores speaks positively about your franchise, it is not just noise. It is the kind of moment that reminds you that change is always closer than it seems.